Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Huh? It's a house!
There's mosquitoes the size of bald eagles in that dadgum swamp.
Hey, how's it going, freaks? Hello, Bad Juju, Michelle H., Richard Watts, the Reverend, and Lisa Valenzuela. How the hell are you guys doing? Shadow aspect. Beltron. Luzal Beltron. Lazalba Beltron. There you go. We've had another. Then we have a Lisa Beltron or something like that at some point. I don't know. Yeah, it's the one that lived in the park. We talked about it last night. I was just going to do some more. We'll probably kind of keep talking about it, you know, over time because it was pretty interesting. That's one of the ones that I actually thought was really interesting. But we'll get started off with a cold case that was solved. And let's see. It's the case of Rhonda Marie Fisher. And it's sort of interesting if you go back in time, like before we even get to that. I'll switch it over. So here it is. Inmates tell kids to stay straight. If you didn't know better, you might envy Vincent Groves, Terry Hines, and Dale Gimple. They live in Rifle, a small town in a pretty area, lots of attractions around. The good life, right? It's not as good as it sounds, though. Because their home there is the Rifle Correctional Center. Grove Hines and Gimple are all convicts doing time for serious felonies. Yeah, and then let's see, where does it say down here? I think it's right here. He now plans. Groves 32 is the newcomer to the group, making his first trip with the team. Explaining his background, he said, "I came from a good family. Was good in basketball. His basketball skill took him to college in Iowa on a scholarship, where he earned a bachelor degree in psychology and political science. Grove's other college activities include marijuana and cocaine. Returning to Colorado after graduation, he continued using and selling cocaine. I was high most of the time. In fact, I stayed high for days at a time for several months, he said. I thought I was doing pretty well. The change came in 1982 when he found himself in prison for killing a friend during an argument. Both had been high on cocaine. Groves had been at rifle for 1 year and doesn't know how much longer he will have to serve before parole. So that was 1982, and this is 1986. And he's in prison for killing somebody. A woman. And then we go to this one right here. This is 1987, April 3rd. So this article is July 11th, 1986. And this is April 3rd, 87. So not even a year later. Strangled woman also was sexually assaulted. An autopsy conducted on a woman whose nude body was found beside a highway in Douglas County shows she was beaten, sexually assaulted, and strangled, Sheriff Steve Zotto said Thursday. The victim was identified as Rhonda Fisher, 31, whose last known address was 1418 Adams Street, Denver. I think I have that location. But hey guys, we're doing another show tonight, so if you guys can please help support the channel during the show, that would be fantastic. The channel relies on the people watching. Let me go back up here. Yeah, now it's better. Yeah, so it's probably like this apartment or something right there. Yeah, so she lived in these apartments at the time. Right there. Fisher's body was found Wednesday along a highway about 12 miles southwest of Castle Rock, the sheriff said. It appeared she was strangled with a cord or small rope and that she was killed at another location, he said. Authorities said the victim had numerous addresses and appeared to have moved around frequently. There are no suspects in the case, but authorities have numerous leads and will make contacts in the North Denver area, Aurora, and Longmont, where the woman had lived, he said. Hey, thanks, Linda Cosma, and this account. Thank you. Interesting case, thank you. Yeah, this is just one that was solved, but we'll get on to the other one. Let's see. There are no suspects in the case. They're just looking around. All right, then 1988. Paroled killer suspected in Denver serial slayings. Oh, jeez. A 34-year-old convict murdered who was released on mandatory parole last year has been arrested and is a suspect in the slaying of at least 14 women in the Denver area during a 7-year period. A Denver police spokeswoman confirmed. Vincent D. Groves. So that's the same guy that was, sort of this guy right here. Talked about so lovingly, like he was so awesome. Oh man, look how great these guys are. What a joke. He killed somebody and was out in 5 years. That's just an absolute embarrassment. Vincent D. Groves of Denver was arrested Thursday night on a warrant for attempted murder of Jerry Kennedy. Investigation Division Chief said, while only the one attempted murder warrant was issued Thursday night, Kennedy said they're looking at him on around 14 similar slayings. Groves was released from Rifle Correctional Center, a minimum security prison on mandatory parole in 1987. Metro area police agencies formed an 18-member homicide task force 2 weeks ago to capture a serial killer after bodies were found dumped in rural counties, including Adams, Douglas, Arapahoe, and Weld over the past 18 months. The series of murders occurred in the early 1980s, but then had a 5-year interruption. Wow, you mean right when he was in prison? Before resuming about 18 months ago. Groves was in prison during these 5 years, police said. Some of the victims were East Colfax prostitutes whose bodies were found dumped in fields. Kennedy said members of the task force have been focusing in on this guy, Groves, for the past 4 weeks. Detectives visited several sites Thursday night before arresting Groves, who was described as very mobile. Groves was in prison from 82 to 87 for murder in a case that parallels the recent series of slangs. I mean, isn't that sick that he only got 5 years? What a joke. And then there's this one. Denver murder suspect wants state to provide public defender. What is that? In 1988, about 3 months later. Ex-convict is charged in slang. Vincent D. Groves, who is under investigation in the killings of as many as 14 women, was charged in Adams County District Court Thursday with first-degree murder in one slang. The charges were the first in connection with the series of slangs under investigation. Groves was accused of killing Juanita Lovato, 19. His body was found April 29th in Adams County. Groves was scheduled to appear in court on the charges on January 6th. Groves is in the Denver County Jail awaiting a January trial in an unrelated case. But now he's already been charged again. Then, let's see. What's going on there? A man guilty in prostitute's murder. Vincent Groves, who is a suspect in the... Yeah, so he's found guilty. Was convicted of first-degree murder Friday in the April 1988 slang of a Denver prostitute. So, you know, he's in that area. He's killing, and he just got convicted of the case that we just talked about in the previous article. Then, let's see. Then we go back to 2012. Killer wouldn't let go under current... Now they're talking about that specific incident. Hey, no, for sure. Well, that's the story we're going to cover next. I'm going to go over that Medium article, just kind of slowly go through it. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Vincent Groves was released from prison on mandatory parole in 1987, having served 5 years for strangling a 17-year-old girl. I mean, that's an embarrassment. You got to be kidding me. He strangled a 17-year-old girl and got 20-something years, but let out after 5. 3 years later, he was back this time for 2 more murders and eventually would die behind bars. Investigators long believed Groves was responsible for at least 3 additional murders and possibly more while he was walking the streets of Denver and its suburbs after his 1987 release. Now, 16 years after his death, they've been able to confirm their suspicions in at least one of these slangs. So this is 2012 article that we're looking at here. Thank you, No, for show. And Cinnamon Sin Freak. Doesn't that just roll off? Isn't that a cool name? Cinnamon Sin Freak. Is the freak at the end because of the channel? Just say yes. All right. Yeah. Now, 16 years after his death, they've been able to confirm their suspicions in at least one of those slangs. If he were convicted of a similar strangling today, chances are Groves would have been behind bars when those killings happened. Well, of course. They're not letting anybody out now, said David Wymore, a former state police defender who represented Groves in the late 1980s. Nothing from the Groves case can transcend into today. It's a whole different world. Well, it should be too, right? As authorities investigate more old murder cases, they are finding links to Groves. Through DNA, they believe he killed 3 people in 1979, Denver District Attorney Mitch Morrissey said. They believe he could be responsible for up to 20 slayings in all. Many of those killings happened between 79 and 88. Groves was arrested for the killing of teen Tammy Woodrum in 1981. His wife at the time, so that means Groves was married, at the time had convinced him to turn himself in. Groves then showed up at a suburban Denver police department with Woodrum's body in a camper. Groves told his wife at the time he accidentally shot her. I thought you strangled, but you strangled her too? Groves said he and the teenager left for a fishing trip in the mountains west of Denver when Woodrum overdosed on cocaine. He said he panicked and tried to make the scene look like a robbery, and at one point had taken Woodrum's body out, tied her hands, and then tried to make it look like she had been raped. Jesus, did you guys believe that? An autopsy determined she had been strangled, apparently with a ligature. Prosecutors placed him on trial for first-degree murder, but a jury convicted him of second-degree murder. So that just shows you how stupid juries people are, often that serve on juries. Are you kidding me? At the time, the Colorado Gorsuch Bill of 1979 mandated parole for inmates, Groves included, after they served, where's that part? Served a fixed percentage of their sentence. Wow, so at the time, the Colorado Gorsuch Bill of 79 mandated parole for inmates. Groves included after they served a fixed percentage. So what do you have to serve, 20%? Groves got out after serving, it should say, just 5 years. Sentencing reform in Colorado that began in the mid-1980s ensures that inmates spend decades in prison, especially for crimes of violence. Today, a second-degree murder conviction carries a minimum sentence of 16 years with a maximum of 48. A prisoner doesn't become parole eligible until they've served at least 75% of their time. Unlike the 1980s, when release happened automatically, today an inmate goes before a parole board. Wow, that's crazy. So they didn't even have a parole board back then. They just go, you've served your what's the point of having... Okay, you got 20 years, but you have to serve 25%, and then you're mandatorily let out. Well, then why didn't you just give them 5 straight years to begin with? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. You got to be kidding me. Is that real? First-degree murder carries a mandatory life sentence with death the maximum penalty. As an example of how the system worked in the early 1980s, before Groves went to prison for Woodrum slaying, he was released from custody while his case was appealed. Jesus. I mean, did he kill anybody during that time? It's unreal. That. So there's that. And then, okay, then we go right to this.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you.
That's not the one I was going to... I fixed it. You could tell that audio is terrible. So here we go.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Today, we are here to talk about Rhonda Marie Fisher. Not just a case file, but a woman who is loved by her family. Rhonda was born in New York on October 12, 1956, and she was 30 years old at the time of her murder. She was last seen near the area of Leetsdale, Monaco in the city of Denver on March 31st, 1987. Rhonda was a mother, she was a daughter, a sister, a cousin, and a niece. And her family members have waited nearly 4 decades for answers. We honor her today by telling her story and explaining how her case was finally solved. On April 1st, 1987, a passing motorist discovered Rhonda's body down an embankment in the 3500 block of South Perry Park Road in rural Douglas County in Sedalia.
Let's see where that is. Hold on. There was hardly any articles on her that case. It was amazing. Nothing.
Passing motorist discovered Rhonda's body down an embankment in the 3500 block of South Perry Park Road.
Okay, is that Prairie Park Road? Is that, what was that, Perry Park or Prairie Park? It sounded like Perry, actually. Like Perry. I don't know. Anybody know? Do you know what that is, Timothy? You said like Perry Park Road. Is that right over here? I don't know. That says South Perry Park Road, Larkspur, Colorado. I don't know. That seems really far away. I mean, it could be over here, but I don't. Doesn't seem right.
Passing motorist discovered Rhonda's body down an embankment in the 3500 block of South Perry Park Road in rural Douglas County.
Okay, so where's Douglas? Let me look at that really quick. Maybe that is it. Oh, it is down here. Oh, that is it then. All right. 35. What happened right there? What? I was like totally unrelated. Hey, thanks for gifting a membership there, Barbara Hall. Very cool. There we go. See. $3,500 Perry Park Road. Yeah, this is probably it. And they said down an embankment. Where's 3,600? I don't know. I mean, maybe the road is, I guess this is it right here, because it was 35, 36. But there's no really embankment right there. So I don't know for sure. Because it only says South Perry Park Road. It does look like it's in the same, Douglas County. Like if I go Douglas County, it's just right in this area. So maybe back then there was just Perry Park Road. Okay, so that's just Perry Park Road, I guess. No, it's still 35. That's it. So they're saying the 3,500 block right over here. Is there an embankment? Let's just see if we go down to, maybe that one side drops off. I don't know. I mean, barely. Doesn't really seem like what they're talking about, but hey, give it a shot. Hey, thanks, Tamsters.
In Sedalia. She had been sexually assaulted and she had been strangled, and she was found without any clothing. Early investigative leads included acquaintances and serial offenders active in the Denver metro area during that time, but unfortunately,
hey, thanks, Tamsters,
did not result in any arrests. Earlier this year, our cold case unit reopened this case.
I will say that way back in the 80s, they even, wondered if he was responsible for her killing. They just didn't know. But you guys you will not believe what they used. Okay, let me just tell you. I think they're going to say it in here. But I read an article on it. Check this out. The paper bags they put on your hands sometimes, to protect, clippings underneath fingernails, something like that. You know those bags? I don't know why they did it back then, but so what they did was they went and looked up, went and found the bags that were on her hands, and then used different DNA process, like went inside there and swabbed around and found the DNA from this Groves guy in there. Can you believe that? It had nothing to do with the fingernail clippings or anything like that. I mean, that's amazing.
With a fresh set of eyes and new forensic opportunities. They began a full, systematic review of every piece of evidence in Rhonda's case. Many items had not been examined using today's DNA capabilities. Working closely with the Unified Forensic Lab and our property and evidence team, investigators conducted a comprehensive evidence review of this cold case. The critical DNA was located on paper bags that were placed on the victim's hands, originally used to preserve trace evidence. In late October, again of this year, we received a CODIS case-to-case DNA match. CODIS, of course, stands for Combined DNA Index System, the national DNA database maintained by the FBI. DNA recovered from the paper bags matched DNA from 3 1979 homicide victims of Vincent Darnell Groves. Obtaining a DNA profile from paper bags nearly 40 years old is exceptionally rare, highlighting how critical a careful case and evidence review is. About Vincent Groves. Groves is considered to be one of Colorado's most prolific serial killers. He had a long and violent history targeting vulnerable women.
So when you hear that, isn't it just amazingly unfortunate that there is like an article like this? You know, there he is. Oh, hey, you know, if you didn't know better, you might envy Vincent Groves, Terry Hines, and Dale Gimble. They live in Rifle, a small town in a pretty area. Lots of attractions around. The good life, right? You know, doing an expose on, you know, prisoners looking to improve. You know, it's just, what a joke. Get out of here.
Between 1978 and 1988, he was involved in sex trafficking and drug distribution. He was convicted of murder in 1982, but served less than 5 years in prison. And almost immediately after he got out of prison, he began committing more violent crimes, including murder. Through DNA and investigative leads, he is believed to be responsible for at least 12 homicides. Also, he's believed to be responsible for an attempted murder and a sexual assault. And again, there is probably a lot more victims out there that law enforcement has yet to connect the dots on. While Groves cannot be held accountable in a courtroom due to his death, today we are able to finally provide answers and resolution to Rhonda's family and to her friends. This case underscores our dedication at the Douglas County Sheriff's Office to solving these cold cases and embracing new technologies. This case is a clear example of how a fresh review of these cold cases and new forensic options can lead to breakthroughs. Again, this case, when they finally put it together, was solved in less than a year. I'm extremely proud of the teamwork between our forensic lab, the Sheriff's Office, our investigators, our property and evidence team, and to date, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office has solved 7 cold cases in 7 years. That's truly exceptional on any scale. I want to emphasize that this is about Rhonda. Again, she was a mother, she was a daughter, a sister, a cousin, a niece. And the Douglas County Sheriff's Office will never stop seeking justice for victims and for their families. There was a lot of teamwork that went into this case, but 2 people that did the heavy lifting on this investigation were Michelle Kennedy, our crime analysis supervisor. Michelle is also an accredited investigative genetic genealogist, and Shane Williams. Shane is a forensic scientist at the Unified Forensic Crime Lab. And with that, I'd be glad to take any questions you might have. Yes, ma'am.
Has anybody spoken to family members from this, and how is this received?
They have, and with that, I'll turn it over to Michelle.
We did speak with Rhonda's family a couple of weeks ago when we got the notification, and they're very happy to have answers. Unfortunately, her mother and father and brother were all deceased when we solved this case, so we weren't able to, they weren't able to learn that information before they died.
So who did you speak with?
We spoke with a cousin, one of Rhonda's cousins.
Other questions?
Was Groves known to Rhonda? Do investigators know how they encountered one another?
From my understanding of the investigation, we may never know the answers to that. Rhonda was picked up hitchhiking, and so Groves was known to victimize hitchhikers. And so I don't know if, Michelle, you want to add to any of that?
The last place she was known, the last place she was known to be was walking on the street in the area of Monaco and Leedsdale. So we don't know if she was hitchhiking or if she went to a bar after that or someplace else to a friend's house street in the area of Monaco and Leedsdale. So we don't know if she was hitchhiking or if she went to a bar after that or someplace else to a friend's house. So we don't know how they encountered each other. From the case information, we don't have any information that they knew each other.
Do you know what time that was that she was last seen?
I believe it was in the evening. I don't remember the time, maybe around 7:30 p.m., sometime around there.
And was Groves investigated back then?
He was looked at in this case. He has long been considered a possible suspect in this case, but there was another potential suspect that we looked at as well. And we needed the DNA confirmation to be sure.
Quick question about the DNA evidence on the paper sacks. That just to clear, that was his DNA found in the paper sacks, right?
Correct.
Jake, you want to talk about that?
Yes, that is correct. The paper bags were placed over Rhonda's hands at the scene of the crime and collected by the coroner when she was being processed at the coroner's office. Those paper bags were saved and had not been touched for 40 years. And so the thought is that whatever skin cells were on her hands also transferred to the inside of those brown paper bags. And so it was a combination of Rhonda's DNA and Vincent's DNA.
I wonder if she was a sex worker or something. That's who we would kill as prostitutes.
So it is typical for on-scene coroner officers to bag hands of homicide victims. Traditionally, fingernail scrapings are taken by the coroner at the coroner's office, so it is to protect that trace evidence that might be underneath the fingernails of the victim. As the sheriff mentioned, that evidence was tested in 2017, but there was no viable lead identified at that time. And so since the paper bags had never been tested before, we thought this would be a good option as a possible answer to this case.
And back then, I mean, I would imagine the medical technology or the medical, forensic technology. I mean, when a medical examiner put those back, they didn't even think about the DNA research back then.
Correct. DNA was not a science that was being focused on or even known in 1987. It was very, very new, and the coroner wouldn't have been doing it for that purpose, but thankfully they did so that we could solve this case.
You keep saying trace evidence. Would you classify the evidence that you found as a large sample, a trace sample? How would you classify the sample?
Great question. So trace evidence would be skin cells left behind by an individual, which is smaller quantity and quality than a body fluid, such as blood, semen, or saliva. We did not find any body fluids in this case linking to Mr. Groves. It was just what in DNA analysis we call trace analysis, which is small, finite amounts of skin cells that we were able to match back to Mr. Groves.
You mentioned when you did this case review, you tested every piece of evidence you have preserved. Can you talk about all the other things that you have had preserved over this time?
Really, the only thing that was left that had not been touched from the original case in '87 were these brown paper bags. Other items had been sent for testing in 2017. Otherwise, this was the only item, the brown paper bags, that had never been tested before.
What were those other items in 2017?
They would have been items collected directly from Rhonda's body. So orifices are swabbed as part of the standard procedure by a coroner's office, and those would have been tested for foreign male DNA, which was not developed in 2017.
Can you talk about how often this office does case reviews? Is there something that triggers that review?
We've probably done 5 or 6 evidence reviews at this point. So it was something we started a couple of years ago where we, myself and we bring a DNA scientist with us and a detective, and we evaluate all the evidence, reviewing the case reports and the crime scene photos, and come up with determinations about what would be valuable to send or probative for DNA testing.
Gotcha. You say 5 or 6 reviews of this specific case or?
Different cases, correct, yes.
Sheriff, you kind of touched upon this already. The suspect's dead. The victim, obviously, their families know. What does this mean for the case itself? Like, how does this impact justice, if at all?
The case is closed, so if anything, it just brings closure to friends and family of Rhonda. It brings, frankly, closure to some other victims of Vincent Groves, just to know there were other victims out there. I have no doubt there's probably going to be other victims identified of Vincent Groves that are still out there that, again, that law enforcement has been unable to connect the dots with. So it'll be good for the family to put this behind them and have some resolution.
Is this an expensive process to go through, trace evidence kind of thing? Is this just a regular DNA sample?
So this is considered a regular DNA sample with today's standards of DNA testing. We would use this technology for all crimes today and for all types of evidence that we receive at the crime lab. So it is a very standard practice in DNA analysis today.
Anyone else?
Can anyone talk about the circumstances relating to his release from jail? 5 years seems like a pretty short time to be in jail for murder.
Michelle, do you want to talk to any of that?
I don't know that we have any of that information.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So I don't know exactly what led to his release, but he was released by the state of Colorado, only to reoffend.
Can you just sort of sum up who he is, like all of the harm he caused in his life and what you expect he did?
Well, Vincent attended Wheat Ridge High School. He was a high school athlete. It seems after high school he went to college, did not do well in college, and then started a life of drugs and began to engage in violent crime. And so I guess nobody would really know what led him to start murder. But
yeah, sorry to hear that, Barbara. What did they rule in your case? What was the? Did they rule it a homicide or?
Certainly had a lifestyle of drugs. He engaged in human trafficking, and just that lifestyle. He was a janitorial supervisor, and so he had job sites all over the metro area, and so he had a lot of latitude to do the things that he wanted to do. And unfortunately, he turned to murder. And again, he is one of the most prolific serial killers in Colorado's history.
Exciting that
Wow.
this case was solved. How many more cold cases is your department looking at right now in this same manner?
Well, we interpret cold cases, of course, as murder, as unidentified missing persons, as missing persons, and then, of course, felony sexual assaults. We have about 35 cases that are still outstanding. And so what's important for people to know is those crimes were never forgotten. The loved ones and the victims were never forgotten, and we are going to continue to solve these cold cases. And quite frankly, I think we're very close to solving a couple more, and I'm looking forward to additional press conferences.
How large is your cold case unit? Can you stop?
We have a total of 4 now, 3 that are working on cold cases. And so it's important for any law enforcement agency, and I've seen this done different ways. If you don't have a dedicated group of people that do nothing but cold cases and you just assign these out to various detectives, they're never going to get solved. You have to have people that are dedicated to that. That is their only job responsibility is cold cases. So anything else has been shown to be inadequate to get these solved.
Any plans to expand the unit?
I'm sure we would love to. There's plenty of work for these guys to continue to do, but it's a challenge to get additional staff. So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to expand eventually.
You did say some of her family members had passed, but what was their reaction when you called and said, we have solved her?
They were relieved to have some answers, and they were thankful. I think her cousins at one point in time said her head was spinning with this information, so I think they're very grateful just to have answers after so long. And then, of course, sadness that Rhonda's parents and brother weren't able to get these answers before they died.
Do you know how many children she had, Rhonda?
We believe she did have a son, but she did not have custody of her son, so we have not been able to locate him.
Michelle, what does this mean to you to work on a case for so long and to get answers?
It's pretty special. It's why I enjoy working on cold cases, because it's very rewarding, and just to be able to give families some answers and speaking with them is one of the most valuable things that I do when I work on these cases at the end, and be able to talk to these families and give them some answers. Very important.
Do you feel like you form a connection with someone who's no longer here in Rhonda's case? Can you talk about that, just the personal?
A connection to the cases? Yeah, I mean, they're all important to me. I think of them all the time and think of the different cases and the victims, and so, and in my experience here, this cold cases is probably the most valuable work that I've done.
Anyone else? Do we have spelling, name and spelling and title?
Yes, we can get that to you. And also, we have pictures and video of the crime lab to help you put your stories together that we can give you afterwards.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's it. Yeah, what I was asking was, what did they rule on it? I didn't see you answer. Oh, undetermined. Okay. Must be on rewind. But anyways, you guys, if you could please help support the channel, I'd really appreciate it. Yeah, I wasn't going to do this other one, but let me just do this other one. It's one that I covered a long time ago. It's in the same general area, but it's 1970, so I don't know. That guy would have been, well, if he was 32 in that 87, that article, that would mean he was like 16, 17? 87, 1917 from 32, like 15, I guess. So I doubt it would be him, but we'll just do this one and then we'll shift over. This one's pretty interesting, too. It's weird. It's a weird one, but it's just so typical. We covered this a long time ago, like 5 years ago, but it made me think of, I thought of this case because I remember sending this to Dennis a long time ago, and it made me, this solve made me think of this one. So it's the nude and battered body of Marilee Burt, 15, of Littleton, was found in Deer Creek Canyon, west of here, Friday afternoon, after she was reported missing some 18 hours. The daughter of Mr. and Mrs. N. Allen Burt of Littleton, and let me find that one. It's way up here on my, it's like, it's nowhere near. Yeah, right there. Let me just turn that. Yeah, see, but look at how weird that is. I mean, it's right in the same, see how you turn these pins on and it's right here? If I had to turn on all my pins to find this thing. And her mother had listed as an apartment in this town right here. So that might be where they live, because apparently she went to this school or not there, right here, Goddard Middle School. And she was a cheerleader. And this thing here is completely off, this Phillipsburg thing. I don't even know what they were talking about. The daughter of Mr. and Mrs. N. Allen Burt of Littleton. The girl never returned from Thursday's cheerleading practice. Her body was found by a county highway employee about 1.5 miles west of Phillipsburg, and he radioed the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. R.D. Perkins, investigator for the Sheriff's Department, said Miss Burt apparently had been beaten about the face, but her clothing was not discovered. So she was totally nude. Time of her death was not immediately determined pending an autopsy. The girl disappeared from Arapahoe County following the cheerleading session and was seen wearing a green pullover sweater with a large gold lettered G on the front and a green skirt. Miss Burt, a 9th grade student, was reported carrying a notebook and school books, but they were not found. Arapahoe County Sheriff Roy Vogie and Jefferson County Sheriff Harold Bray, isn't that weird? Harold Bray. That's the same person that's in the Schnee Oberholzer. It almost feels like he's the guy that was in the plane that told the pilot, if I remember. I mean, it almost feels like that's who that is. I don't remember exactly, but isn't he the one that said he was on the jet airline and then told the pilot, hey, look, there's a car down there with that needs help or something. And then they sent the planes down, and it turns out that that was the killer of Schnee Oberholzer stuck in the mountains. They just didn't realize it at the time. Remember that? But yeah, you guys, if you could help support the channel, that would be fantastic. We are currently at 1/9 of the goal, so if you have the ability, that would be fantastic. Let's see. Voight said possible connection between Miss Burt's death. Is it Burt? I mean, it looks like they spell. I know it's Burt, but they keep the T's missing. And the slaying of Connie Paris last March would be considered. He said Miss Paris was found also nude and badly bruised at the edge of Bear Creek Park in the southwest Denver. Her clothing was never found either, so they thought maybe it's connected to another one. I mean, I don't know. 1970, maybe he was 16 or something. Would he be doing that at 16? And then this one says, Sheriff's Office officers of Jefferson and Arapahoe County. Hey, thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. Sheriff's officers at Jefferson and Arapahoe counties were searching Saturday night for a dark pickup truck or carry-all in connection with the slaying of 15-year-old Marilee Burt. Now the T's there. A police helicopter from Denver also was used. Officers were concentrating their probe on two fronts: the slain girl's clothes, which still hadn't been found Saturday, and the vehicle they said might have been used to transport the girl's body. Coroner, and it's really bizarre how the vehicle is known. I'll tell you, it'll show up in one of these articles. Coroner Key Rainey of Jefferson County said evidence indicated the girl was strangled. The nude body of the Littleton girl was found Friday beneath a bridge in Deer Creek Canyon, west of Littleton. The coroner said an examination showed the girl had been struck on the head with some sort of heavy weapon, but the skull was not fractured. Sheriff Roy Voigt of Arapahoe County said the girl, a cheerleader at Goddard Middle School at Littleton, had walked home with a girlfriend after a basketball game Thursday. The sheriff said Marilee, I mean, look how sad this is right here. It's like, the sheriff's office said Marilee telephoned her mother, Mrs. N. Allen Burt, asking her to pick her up. But Voigt said Mrs. Burt drove to the school instead. Well, isn't that where you would pick somebody up? Meanwhile, her daughter had begun walking home. The family reported her missing about 3.5 hours after she was last seen alive, the sheriff said. Isn't that sad? Like the mother literally went to pick her up, but I mean, somehow that got, crossed. Wires got crossed on that. These articles are all from May 2021. So I would imagine that's actually, well, how many years ago? Is that May 2022, 23, 24, 25, 4 years ago. Or 4.5. The nude and battered body of Marilee Burt, 15, of Littleton, was found in Deer Creek Canyon, west of here, Friday afternoon, after she was reported missing some 18 hours. The daughter of Mr. and Mrs. N. Allen Burt of Littleton, the girl never returned from Thursday's cheerleading practice. Her body was found by a county highway employee about 1.5 miles west of Phillipsburg. I'm not sure, is it Phillipsburg? Let me try that. This doesn't seem like that's a... Yeah, this doesn't exist. See, I mean, there isn't... I mean, Phillipsburg is way over here. And it just doesn't... I don't know, it doesn't really make sense on how they've explained it in other articles. So I don't know what they mean when they say Phillipsburg. R.D. Perkins, investigator for the Sheriff's Department, said Miss Burt apparently had been beaten about the face, but her clothing was not discovered. Let me see this one. Yeah. Littleton girl strangled. Coroner Ken Rain of Jefferson County said Saturday that all available evidence indicated the 15-year-old Marilee Burt was strangled. Rainey also said an autopsy showed the girl had been sexually assaulted. The nude body of the Littleton girl was found Friday beneath a bridge in Deer Creek Canyon, west of Littleton. See how that's totally different? Like, Like Littleton is. I mean, where is it? Let me type it in again. I mean, I guess Littleton's here, but Deer Creek Canyon. This is Deer Creek Canyon right here. It says Deer Creek Canyon Road. And then there's this bridge right here. And this is where I remember trying to figure out exactly where this was way back then. I think it was just right here. You know, this is a bridge right there. The nude body of the Littleton girl was found Friday beneath a bridge in Deer Creek Canyon. The coroner said an examination showed the girl had been struck on the head with some sort of heavy weapon, but the skull was not fractured. Sheriff Roy Voigt of Arapahoe County said the girl, a cheerleader at Goddard Middle School at Littleton, had walked home with a girlfriend after basketball. The sheriff said Marilee telephoned her mother, Mrs. N. Albert Burt, asking her to pick her up, but Voigt and Mrs. Burt, Voigt said Mrs. Burt drove to the school instead. I'm not sure what that means when they say instead. That is not where you would say, hey, let me pick you up. Okay, this is, his first article is February 28th now. This is March 26th. Sheriff Roy Voigt of Arapahoe County said Wednesday investigators are searching for a car believed to have pulled onto Middlefield Road at about, it's hard to tell what that number is. It's like 8:50 p.m. or 6:50 p.m. February 26th, the day Marilee Burt was abducted while walking to her Columbine Valley home. The body of the 15-year-old cheerleader was found the next day by a highway crew under a bridge in Deer Creek Canyon in Jefferson County. Let me see where Jefferson County is. Yeah. And where was that other Phillipsburg? See, Phillipsburg isn't even in that county. See how stupid that is? Or it's not even Phillipsburg. It's Phippsburg up here. Because there isn't a Phillipsburg. Maybe there used to be and it was changed, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it right there. Looks like Lisa, it's just like every other night, you know, just difficult. Sheriff Voigt said several persons also have reported seeing a pickup truck on the road about that time. The truck was believed to be a late model, light colored, with a light top and dark bottom. No description was given for the car. Marilee, a student at Goddard Middle School in Littleton, was the daughter of N. Allen something, vice president and general manager of Burt Chevrolet. Apparently it was a really successful shop. And this is their Colorado Bureau. On February 26, 1970, after a basketball game at Goddard Middle School, Marilee Burt began walking towards her house in Columbine Valley. Several witnesses saw Marilee walk through Berry Drive, Bulls Avenue, and Middlefield Road. Maybe I should get those in there. Berry Drive. Yeah. I don't think so. Very dry. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there's Goddard Middle School. She walked through Berry Drive. Okay, and then Bowles Avenue. No, that's not it. Hmm. Yeah, West Bowles Avenue, Littleton. So all the way over here. Okay, so why was she way over there though? Okay, maybe it means she came out and then walked like. Oh wait, and then this is Bowles, so maybe here. This makes sense given that where that that apartment is. Bowles Avenue. Okay. All right, this kind of makes sense. And then Middlefield Road. Yeah, and then see that's the part that doesn't make a ton of sense, but yeah, like Middlefield Road is right here. That's what this is. So I guess she came down and then went to here. I would imagine what they're saying is like right there. Right, so I don't know if that apartment that I have here is where the mother, the date didn't really line up, but it's the only address that the mother had in Middleton. So at the time, she looks like she got out of school and then walked this way, maybe dropping a friend off. Maybe the friend lived over here or something. And then, actually I would imagine since it would come out right there. And, kind of came out onto Bowles. And then right past Middleton, like it's kind of a long ways. It's not like, so if she lives over here, she was just walking the friend home and then came around like this. So this one's no good. All right, guys, so I need to dance a jig in here tonight again. We need the support for the channel. I'm trying not to ask often or anything like that, but it seems like that creates the issues that we're having in here tonight, because we're currently at like 1/8 of the nightly goal, and we haven't really met the standard normal night on the first 2 nights of the month already. So we're way behind, and we're just going to keep getting further and further, and I don't know, I have no options. So if you can please help support the channel, maybe get some channel memberships. We currently only have 3 gifted memberships tonight. Maybe get some memberships for other people. That would be good. She never made it home. Marilee was last seen talking to someone in a vehicle that stopped on South Middleton Road. A Jefferson County road crew discovered Marilee's nude body in Deer Creek Canyon. It was determined that Marilee had been strangled and assaulted. Anyone with information regarding this case is asked to please contact the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Department. That one. Then there's other articles here. Like this one is from 2021. It says, after 51 years, investigators, family, and friends are still searching to find the person responsible for the brutal murder of 15-year-old Marilee Burt. Authorities said Sunday a reward of up to $30,000 is being offered for information leading to an arrest. Burt was last seen alive, walking home in her cheerleader uniform after a basketball game at Goddard Junior High School in Littleton on February 26, 1970. Thanks, Sandy Shirley. Several independent witnesses reported seeing Burt walking a route that included Berry Drive, Bulls Avenue, and Middleton Road, but she never made it home. The day after she disappeared, a Jefferson County road crew found Burt's naked body in Deer Creek several miles away from where she was last seen and contacted law enforcement. She had been assaulted and strangled to death. Years after her death, investigators were able to create a DNA profile using evidence that was collected at the scene. I mean, what's going on, you guys? I sent him a letter today. I go, hey, I still have funds. The way we're going now, we're going to have to stop supporting all these different things that we've been doing. But we still have money left in the fund for identifinders. But unfortunately, it's just feeling like it's just going to be so difficult to ever do the stuff we used to be doing ever again, unless there's a miracle another case that somehow I get a foothold in. It's just it's brutal. Let's see. The substantial increase to the reward hopefully allows us to collect more information to bring the suspect. Burt was last seen talking to someone in a vehicle that had stopped on South Middlefield Road. Her family began a frantic search and reported her as missing. This is not a cold case. So let me say South Middlefield Road. So what's South Middlefield Road? Okay, that's the same. That's west. West, is that? I don't know where South Middlefield Road is. Okay, maybe that's what this is. Yeah, I mean, it's not called South Middlefield Road. And it ends right here. It's not a cold case by any means. So I'm going to switch over to the next one. I'm trying to find the one. What's this one? All right, here's another one. That's her. Oh boy. On a chilly winter evening, February 26, 1970, 15-year-old Marilee Burt finished cheerleading a basketball game at Goddard Middle School. Her home in Columbine Valley. I guess we could put that in there, just to have a general area. Okay. So we're like right over here. So she was almost home. Like she was going to come down like this. That was a short distance away, so when her ride did not show up, Marilee began walking. Despite several her ride didn't show up. Well, that's her mom. But that's not accurate, actually, because they talked, and the mom was supposed to pick her up. Despite several independent witnesses seeing Marilee walk a route that included Berry Drive, Bulls Avenue, and Middlefield Road, she never made it home. Marilee was last seen talking to someone in a vehicle that stopped on South Middlefield Road. Her family began a frantic search and reported Marilee as missing. Yeah. So, hold on. Now, I keep getting like excited that there's messages coming in that we're getting support, but they're just messages. You know, like we're just struggling. We're at 48. You know, that's just multiply 48 times 30. Tell me what you get. Let's see. Who killed Marilee Burt? It's a question that has puzzled detectives for decades. The teenage cheerleader was brutally killed half a century ago, and there are still no arrests in her case. Thanks, Michelle H. And then we got Sandy Shirley, 33 months. And Lisa V. 33 both. That's weird. Wednesday marks 50 years since Burt was killed. Her family is still desperate for answers, but after all these years, the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office said recent tips have come in that have now made Burt's death a top priority for the cold case unit. I wonder what happened. She was so vibrant, so full of energy, said Marin Burt. That's the niece. It was the night of February 26, 1970. 15-year-old Marilee Burt was a cheerleader and performed at a basketball game at Goddard Junior High. After the game, she walked towards her home in Columbine Valley. She had her little Goddard cheerleader uniform on and her hair in pigtails and started on her walk home. This is where it gets kind of weird. The family said Marilee's brother, Raymond, happened to drive home around that time and saw a girl with pigtails, but they said he didn't recognize the girl was his sister because she rarely wore her hair like that. So his brother actually drove by her but didn't even know it was her because she was wearing pigtails. I believe my dad had been further up and had seen Marilee in her rear view mirror and had seen, let's see. So when she says her dad, that means the brother of Marilee, which now this girl's the daughter of her brother. I believe my dad had been up further and had seen Marilee in his rear view mirror and had seen her stop to talk to a person in the vehicle. But it was far away and he didn't realize it was her, or not, Marin said. She turned to speak with the person in the vehicle, which in theory we have always said we think it was someone she had known. The next day, Marilee's body was found in Deer Creek Canyon. Detectives said she had been sexually assaulted and strangled. Her killer has never been found. The case has perplexed Arapahoe County Sheriff detectives for decades. Police did pull DNA off Marilee's body, but have yet to find a match in any local federal databases. Well, you do FGG, you idiots. I mean, but her family is hoping continued advancements in DNA testing may help. We're hoping with the ancestry and all the new DNA that some of these cold cases are being cracked left and right, and we get a little bit hopeful. We're getting more hopeful again that someday we will get a hit. And I mean, maybe they're trying it. I'm just saying. Come on, you guys. But hey, guys, if you could please consider helping support my channel, keep us going. It's very, been very, we're currently only at 1/8 of the nightly goal. I think people have already tried the $2 holler. It's just not, it's not working. Time does heal things, but it never leaves your soul, Marin said. It would just be such a beautiful thing to have closure for Mary Lee. There's got to be someone out there that knows something. I thought that's pretty wild. Right here, that's the same party. So this is different, a little more extra in this one. Well, this was 2017. Thanks, Chris O'Connell. Yeah, but you'll see, like I said, if you get 10 people to do the $2 hollers, that's 1/12 of a nightly goal. Yeah, it just doesn't. It's hard to make it, unfortunately. You're in the basement of a hospital. Huh. Thanks, Tamsters. Yeah, I'm just, after I finish this one, I'm going to, oh, thanks. Agura. Is that your name? All right. Yeah, if 50 people did the holler, it might help, but we still wouldn't even be at the goal, if you can believe that. Awesome. Thanks, Zozo and Chris O'Connell. She was expecting her mother, Sherry Burt, to pick her up that night after a basketball game. Somewhere along the way, there was a mix-up, and Marilee, still in her cheerleader uniform, set out on foot from Goddard Middle School to her home in Columbine Valley. After briefly stopping at a friend's home, she headed out on Middlefield Road. That's where her older brother, Ramon, who was driving home from high school, saw a girl walking by. He also noticed a vehicle going in the opposite direction with a man inside. And then I looked in my rearview mirror, and I was going by, Ramon Burt said. I saw him stop, and she turned and was talking to somebody. Ramon didn't realize the girl was his sister. That's because she was had ponytail or pigtails. He was the last person except the killer to see her alive. When Marilee didn't come home that night, the family began searching for her. I went back to see if she was there, and she wasn't there, Ramon said. Marilee's naked body was found the next day under a bridge in Deer Creek Canyon, 15 miles from her home. Her clothes, books, and purse were all gone. To this day, they've never been found. Marilee was the daughter of one of Colorado's most successful car dealers, and her death sent shockwaves through her tiny community. You know, it's weird. We don't have a lot of these type of killings anymore, you know. I mean, that were, you know, it seems like they're always something, you know, kind of obvious, like, I don't know. That's why Koberger's was so different. But yeah, we're currently at 1/5 of a nightly goal, and we've only got 3 gifted channel memberships. Well, make it 8, because there's Chris O'Connell. There's 8 now, so appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, but it doesn't mean somebody isn't going to, you know, they don't care if you have Life 360. They just throw your fun out the window. It's different. It doesn't, it's, I mean, it's the sex workers are the ones that are attacked even now, but I don't know, it's just strange. You know, it seems like but also we're focused in on these ones, and like there's 8 years between them. I'm sure those happen. It just doesn't. They just don't seem similar, or maybe we just don't know about them because there's so many missing people out there, and their bodies maybe haven't been found, so we don't know what happened. Your poetry. Police found DNA on Marilee's body, but a crime lab analysis still hasn't come up with a match. Well, what are you guys doing? You know? Give it to somebody like Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick. Ramon was able to offer police a vague description of the man that Marilee stopped to talk to. He described him as 30 to 40 years old, white man. That means he's likely not alive at this point. He had dark brown hair with a receded hairline and long, square sideburns. Sherry Burt spent decades trying to help find her daughter's killer. She died in 2013 without ever learning the truth. She was just tormented her whole life, Ramon said. I think she's the one who really felt guilty. The Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office still gets tips on Marilee's death. The most recent one came at the end of 2016. I wonder if the confusion was the daughter was supposed to meet, or the mother was supposed to pick her up at the friend's house after she dropped off the friend, but then the mother never showed up there, so then she started walking home, and the mother went to the school to pick her up. I mean, that's kind of interesting. Just that one mistake, and there's nothing wrong with it. People should be able to make a mistake like that. But at the same time, it's what ended up... I mean, it's just like that one case. Remember the one where their property was just outside near the mall, and the mom was going to take her to the mall and said, well, why don't you walk this time? And then she got killed, like, on the way to the mall in the wooded area, right? Just right there outside the house. I mean, it was crazy. So anyways, that's it for those two. I just randomly wanted to talk about that one because it was in Colorado, and I kept thinking about it, wondering if it was connected to the one solved today. But the killer in that case would have had to been 15 years old. I mean, that's sort of interesting. Where did he go to school, right? And did he have somebody, if he was 16, did he have a car? And, I mean, what the hell, I mean, in the Rhonda Fisher case, this guy right here, see, right, in this one, it is Vincent Groves, and he is 32 years old in 86, so I guess he could have been 16 years old. And then that's like 1 year, 1 year older than her. I mean, that's crazy, right? So what if he went to the same school? And that's like kind of his early, he was just a psycho from the get-go. Hey, thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. And look at that. Thanks so much. Look at that, Chris O'Connell. Very cool. Thank you. I think we got to 50%. Just like that. Anyways, you guys find those interesting at least? And if you missed it earlier, was there anybody in here that missed the first story that we talked about? So they solved the case of Rhonda Marie Fisher, who was killed in 1987 by this guy right here in this newspaper article, Vincent Groves. Vincent Groves strangled a woman in 1982, was arrested, he confessed and everything, and he was put in prison for second-degree murder. And back then they had an automatic release after serving a certain amount of your time, and he got out in 5 years. I mean, he got out in 5 years, and right after he got out, he killed Rhonda Marie Fisher, And then he went on to kill multiple other people, up to 20, they think. He's a serial killer. And then they finally arrested him and put him back in. I mean, imagine how many people this guy would have killed had they not caught him. Because he, like, literally between 1982, or, 1981 to 88, he killed 14 to 20 people. And he was in prison 5 of those years. So just think of that. And this guy, there's no way in hell he should have been out after 5 years. Let's see. And thanks for the holler up there. At least it kind of stemmed the tide of nothingness. I mean, it was like, Let's see. All right, so guess what we're going to do now? I'm going to switch over to I'm going to play. I got to use the restroom really quick. But then I'll be back and we're going to do go over this article that I found that's really long. And that'll just sort of be more information. This is on the, if I remember right, was it Mayazawa? Yeah, Mayazawa family murders in Japan. I thought that was incredibly interesting. What did you guys think? When we were looking at that last night, that was one that was like exactly the kind that I am interested in. So we're going to go over this article that I found that's really long. It takes like 18 minutes to read on a reader that's reading fast, so we could just work through it though. Okay? So, it is no for show. It is. All right. But anyways, I got to use the restroom. You guys, don't you love that music? I could see all of you guys dancing around. Whoa, hey. Well, thanks again there, Chris O'Connell. Really appreciate it. Look at all the new members in there. Huzzah! Well, thank you. And there's no for show. Okay, here we go. So this is a long one and it has pictures in it and everything by Medium. All right. And I'm sure No for Show has different info, whatever. I don't know if it's different or more or whatever, but She's apparently going to be sending me stuff. I just haven't got any of it yet. You guys ready? Here we go. So for those who weren't here last night, this is way more information than what we were reading last night. All right, way more. Well, thank you for being you. I mean, my God, I would be absolutely struggling yet again, but thank you so much. We have a shot at making the goal tonight. She won't. Waiting. Yeah, I'm coming. I don't care if you're chatting away. It was just, we were just starting off and you were so far ahead of us in the comments that it was like, I mean, I shouldn't read anymore, But man, hey, thanks again there, Chris O'Connell. We should get a couple challenges going, see if we can get there. Also waiting, don't worry. Oh yeah, you said that. All right, here we go. On December 30th, 2020, one of the most infamous criminal cases in Japan's history has turned 20. So this must have been like 4 or 5 years ago, this article. Oh yeah, well, I guess, no, they're saying on 2020. What's the date of it? This is January 24th, 2021. All right, so this is just like a month after its 20th anniversary. One of the most infamous criminal cases in Japan's history has turned 20. A senseless murder of a family of 4 in Tokyo, neighborhood of Setagaya, has caught both the Japanese and international public's attention, with countless amount of articles and podcast episodes dedicated to this tragedy. However, the passage of time, and in the case of international publications, the language barrier, has muddled many details and blown some up. I decided to put my language skills to use and write down a synopsis of the case. Thanks, lol. I don't even know what you... I didn't even see what it wrote. I didn't get to read what it wrote. I'm sure it was a cut down, though, of some sort if you got rid of it. Does anybody know what that one said? I missed it. Yeah. Yeah, those cold cases are crazy. That 1970, that one should get solved. They've got the freaking DNA. Though I actually emailed the person. I'm not sure what that means. Lol cow. Funniest. You don't seem like you're funny. But thank you for the $2. Is this a hug box? What does that even mean, idiot? Is this a hug box? Hey, we all know what hug boxes are. Sandy Shirley, that's a fair question. Which one? Why are you in the hospital basement? I think, didn't she just say she had an appointment or something? And, you don't overthink stuff, Sandy Shirley. You do that a lot, and it kind of makes things uncomfortable. Just let people, just say something without overthinking why somebody, and then they don't need to answer, I didn't even ask, like, hey, wow. Yeah, she just said she was taking her daughter to the hospital earlier. Let's see. But yeah, thanks for gifting the membership there. What's weird is when trolls are so stupid they can't even troll correctly. Come up with some better material, for God's sakes. All right? Whoa, Jesus. Well, thanks so much there. Chris O'Connell. That's very kind. Thank you so much. I decided to put my language skills to use and write down a synopsis of the case as accurately and comprehensively as I could, basing it only on reputable Japanese sources. This means those familiar with the unsolved mystery may find some frequently shared information missing. It could be because I simply missed them, they are false, or Japanese police don't perceive them as important. With all that said, here's the story of the Mayazawa family. I'm actually excited to go over this, if you can believe that. Yeah, isn't that funny? Right. And I don't think I was, tonight I was just I pretty mellow. It didn't really mention anything much, and then it just got to where we're already an hour and something in, and that's when I say, hey guys, if you're out there, if you can help support the channel, that would be fantastic. Yeah, she's been very helpful. When the Miyazaki, why does it say Miyazaki? Isn't it Mayazawa? Your first thing out of the gate, is that the right name? Moved to Kamasoshiyaga Street in 1991. The place was bustling with houses with over 200 residential buildings scattered in the vicinity. The four of them, the father, officer worker Mayazawa Mikio, his wife Yasuko, home tutor, daughter Niina, and son Rei, lived in a small, cramped space. At the back of the house was neighboring a part of a park where little kids played called Choo Choo Train Park. Soon, Mayazawas started to lose... I know, on that one, I know. Like the first thing out of the gate, she doesn't say it right. Miyazaki. I mean, my God, Soon the Mayazawas started to lose more and more of their neighbors who sold their land to the city. Tokyo already had plans for this area to expand nearby Soshigaya Park. By the time the year 2000 rolled by, there were only 4 houses left. Yeah, so, I mean, it's kind of weird, where that house is, if you look at it. I mean, I guess that's a house right here, at 1. Maybe there's another one in there, then there's 2. Just sort of in this little island almost, because there's a water there. And then maybe you could call that street, or over here, like in between the park and the river, the Seine River. Yeah, so there's 1, 2, looks like 3 here, and then maybe there's another one. But anyways, the one we're looking at is this one. And then you can actually go down to Street View right over here. And there's the back. And so they had a map in one of these things, but it doesn't... Like, here's a map that showed up in one of these. So this is the back of the house, which is right here. It doesn't work, because they have 1, 2, 3, 4 windows, and there's really 1, 2, 3. And let's see. So if you rotated this around, it would be like that, I think. And then, You know, they have window, 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 and there's 4, and there isn't 4, but I think that's, is this the bathroom window that I'm pointing at right here? I know, the map isn't correct, though. It's just, it has too many, I know exactly what it is. Yeah, there's not enough windows on it. This is the first floor, second floor attic. They're just, unless they're talking about this house right there. Is that the one it is? Okay, hold on. I guess it would make sense if this, is it this one right here? Is this where it happened? In this one? I guess if it's that one, that would make more sense. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay. Oh, interesting. So this is where the other lady lived, right? But it's this house right here. So maybe there is 1, 2, maybe there's a 4th. Is this the window right there that the person went through? Right there? Right here? Is that the window? No, for sure. I know. That's what I said. The house on the right's for the grandmother. I'm asking you if this is the window right here that goes into the bathroom. I just realized that it's probably this one, not this one, on my own. Okay. All right, so that makes sense. So all of this is related to that house, not this one over here. Or, you know, they're connected, though. Soon the Mayazawas started to lose more and more of their neighbors who sold their land to the city. Tokyo already had plans for this area to expand nearby Soshagawa Park. By the time the year 2000 rolled by, there were only 4 houses left. One of them belonged to Yasuko's older sister, An, I guess. Let's see. Yasuko. Who the hell is that? Oh, his wife. Okay. So one of them belonged to Yasuko's older sister, but for the most of the time was occupied by the sister's mother, and her son spent 8 years living in England and only got back to Setagaya in the spring of 2000. Her husband was an engineer at a big automobile company, with some rumors claiming he worked with a Formula One team. One of them belonged to On, but for most of the time it was occupied by the sister's mother. Okay. On and her son spent 8 years living in England and only got back to Satagayo in the spring of 2000. So they're talking about On's husband was the engineer. I mean, this lady's making it really complicated with all this other shit. Her husband was an engineer at a big automobile company, with some rumors claiming he worked with a Formula One team, and he was often overseas. This nearly empty home was the place where Yasuko could tutor children. She didn't have a lot of distance to cover. The 2 buildings were so close they could be mistaken for a semi-detached house. This close proximity had Mikio feeling uneasy. He worried it could lead to family troubles in the future. He proposed soundproofing both places. On agreed. Both families, just like their neighbors, planned to eventually move away from Kamisagayo and had already sold off their land to the city. I think it's Kamiso Shigaya. But Yasuko was hesitating. That's the wife. She worried about her children acclimating to a new place, especially since her youngest, Ray, how do you pronounce that? Ree? Just like that? But hey guys, if you're out there, other people, if you want to help support the channel, that'd be great. We're still not at just the basic, close though. We need about 5 channel memberships to get to just the goal. So, Ria. She worried about the children acclimating to a new place. In the end, they never got to move. On the night of the 30th of December, the Mayazawa family quiet life was cut short. Yeah. So then that window on the far right is this window, if you flipped it around. That's the bathroom. And then I guess the wife was found here by some stairs, the daughter on the ground there, and the son was found in bed. And the husband was... he was on the first floor. Down here by some stairs. So apparently these stairs and these stairs, if you overlapped them, would be connected. I actually have a video, if you guys want to see that. I found it. I think it might, I'm not sure if it was in this article or what this was, but... I mean, this is like outside the home. I think that's the grandmother that's alive, right? Or the grandmother of the kids. Isn't that her right there? She still lived there. And then these must be evidence boxes inside the actual house. I mean, this is the house. I mean, these are the stairs and... like Ray, okay. So is that the window right there? That's crazy. I think that's the window. They think the person came in. And that must be a bathtub right there that has a top on it. And that's what this is. Right? And then there should be a closet or something just to the right. Let's see what happened when they were moving toward... yeah, right there. So this is a good map. So right there is where this little sink area is. And then there should be stairs just to the right of that, right here. Let's see. Let me go back a little bit. And that must be a small window. Well, that's a bathroom too, but that's a toilet. I don't know. It looks like there's supposed to be some stairs over there. Yeah. So let's see. I wonder if that's the bunk bed that they were just showing a second ago. Yeah. So is that? Study, desk, and a bed. Let me go back a little bit. There's a piano in here. Where does it mention a piano? They don't show a piano on the map, but that's what this is. But maybe there was an office. This is the office with the desk in it. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
2009年4月、ニーナちゃんのお誕生日だと思います。そういう形でこう背が高くなった99年6月、99年12月、2000年8月にって書いてあるのはニーナちゃんの2だと思います。
Well, those are like height.
ここまで背が伸びたのに2000年8月2000年は推理をしてもらいたくて現場を公開したんじゃないです。こういう狭いところで一生懸命暮らしていて、そして命を落としてしまったこの現場を体感していただけたらなと思います。こういう椅子に座って。
But hey, guys, good time for one of those. We need another. If we get like another 10 memberships throughout the show, I'll donate 5 myself. All right.
ニーナちゃんもそうですけど、私が椅子に座って、こうやっていつも子供たちと話をしたり読み聞かせをしたりしたことがもうここに入るとやはり思い出されますし、小さいニーナちゃんが座っていたのがだんだんレイ君も大きくなってきたので、普通の椅子に座れるねなんて話しながら子供をご紹介したって、それが一緒に貼ったんだと思います。私のうちの内戦連話と続いてますから、もう
Barbara Hall。
今食事今天ぷら揚げたてたからとかそんな感じだったんですけど、ぜひもう20年近く前のことで過去のことになってしまうってそういうことを言うほど解決です。
Nine more.
未解決なの。何か壊してしまった。
I don't know what she's saying. Do you know what she's saying? No for show. Or where the kids study. I don't know. It's hard to like make the map. You know, some of the stuff work. You know. Have they made a 3D model of the house anywhere? That'd be pretty cool. That must be how you get up into the... It's kind of eerie, just even the sound right there. Alright, well there's that. So you just got sort of a... I guess they go there every year or something. Now what was that lady's name right there? She's somebody that was mentioned already, right? Let's see. The more time passes, the less is certain about the murderer's actions. According to most widely accepted version, he enters the Mayazawa's house through a small window on the second floor bathroom. The perpetrator's first target is Ray's bedroom, located right next to the bathroom. And it is. Well, it's right around the corner from the bathroom. Right next to the, so if you look at this map right here, that's the window, and then if that's the bedroom, I think that's probably it. Right there. Well, they just spelled it A-N, so I thought it was more like on, but... Okay, so they do show it right here. Okay, that is what we were looking at. Mayazawa's house through a small window on the second floor bathroom. The perpetrator's first target is Ray's bedroom, located right next to the bathroom. He finds the youngest one sleeping and strangles him. Ray is the only victim killed by strangling and the only one who doesn't have any stab wounds or any blood stains on his body. So that means he was first. There was no transfer from the other victims onto Ray. It's in this bedroom where police find the most footprints. Now, were the footprints in blood? If so, then that would be interesting. That means he kind of came back in there. The next victim is thought to be Father Mikio. Police assume that before the assault, he was on the first floor working. And this is on medium.com. His body was found on the first floor, right next to the stairs. He has many wounds, mainly in the thighs and buttocks area, but stab wounds were also found in both arms, chest, and face. Wow, so why would he be stabbed in, like he was chasing him or something? The thigh and buttocks area. His cause of death was ruled to be blood loss resulting from chest stab wounds. Police find a fragment of a sashimi knife, the murder weapon, in his skull. Man, this guy was just going nuts. All right, guys, we need 9 more of those channel memberships. Then I'll donate 5 myself. The last victims are mother and daughter who were sleeping together in the attic, accessible by a foldable ladder located on the second floor. We just saw that. Wow. So they were sleeping in the attic, and he actually went up the folding ladder. I mean, that's just crazy. Accessible by a foldable ladder located on the second floor close to the bathroom. They are stabbed multiple times, mainly in the face and neck area. So this guy was really angry and had a lot of rage, and it was personal to him. You know, it doesn't mean he knew them, but like whatever he was doing was, I mean, that's crazy. Stab somebody in the face and head that many times. You know what's weird is people just aren't even interested in this story either. We only got 92 people watching. How disturbing. His cause of death was ruled to be blood loss. Okay, the last victims were mother and daughter. They are stabbed multiple times, mainly in the face and neck area. First with a broken sashimi knife, and then on an all-purpose kitchen knife he must have gotten from the Mayazawa's house. It might be during the time perpetrator took a grab a knife, Yasuko decided to run with Niina. Bleeding heavily, she took Niina in her arms and carried her down the stairs. The criminal must have noticed them and delivered the final blow. Both bodies were found crouched with their backs touching. Huh. Weird. The criminal must have noticed them and delivered the final... Let me read this part again. It might be during this time the perpetrator took to grab a knife. Yasuko decided to run with Niina. Bleeding heavily, she took Niina in her arms and carried her down the stairs. So that stairs that were folded down. Bleeding heavily, she took Niina in her arms and carried her down the stairs. The criminal must have noticed them and delivered the final blow. Both bodies were found crouched with their backs together. Hey, that's weird. So I think this is right there is the ladder that you pull down, and you go up here, and then so obviously they must have found blood up here where they were attacked, and then they go down the stairs, and both of them are found right here, back to back, with crouched. Hey, good night, Sandy Shirley. Thank you. Do I make you go to sleep, Sandy? All right, how do we get the freaks to get us the... We need the other 9 channel memberships so I can donate 5. See if we can do it. I know it's hard. Just trying to get through the lull here. I mean, when I'm saying lull is like in general for my channel. Hopefully at some point things will pick up. Who knows? I did buy like some course to for YouTube. I gotta go figure out if I'm doing everything I need to be doing. Yeah, I mean, that's what it almost seemed like they were posed the way they were back to back like that. That's the first thing that I thought of, but it just feels like I don't know. Why would you do? I mean, I guess why would you do any of this? The criminal must have noticed them and delivered the final blow. Both bodies were found crouched with their backs touching. Niina died last. Her cause of death was determined to be cervical spinal cord injury caused by a backstab wound. Additionally, her first and third tooth was found missing, which suggests she was not only stabbed but also beaten. Police have found bloodstains on the futon, which suggests they were attacked while sleeping. So that must be a futon up here, this thing. A bloodied tissue was lying on the attic floor, presumably used by Yasuko to stop Nina's bleeding. So they were sort of like, this wasn't as frantic as it seems. Like there was time for them to go do other things. Hey, let me go get a, seemed like you're just struggling, not grabbing tissues. I mean, unless he just sort of let him walk around. I mean, that seems kind of odd. Maybe one of them could have got outside the house. After killing the family, the perpetrator went to Mayazawa's kitchen area. He took out a few small cups of ice cream from a fridge. Strangely, he didn't use a spoon. Instead, he squeezed the containers upwards and proceeded to bite ice cream. I know exactly what they're saying. Imagine just having a pint and squeezing it so it comes out. For a drink, he chose barley tea, ignoring cola and beer left in the fridge. The kitchen is also where he had found a Band-Aid, which he used to try to patch a wound on his right hand. At one point, he rummaged through the family's documents from the first floor storage. He pulled out all the drawers and took one of them to the second floor bathroom. He dumped the inside into the bathtub. Yasuko's personal belongings from her 2 handbags. Let's see, at one point he rummaged through the family's documents from the first floor storage. He pulled out the drawers and took one of them to the second floor bathroom. He dumped the inside into the bathtub. What the hell's this guy doing? It's all over the place. Is this pretty accurate so far, other than that one mishap with the name? No, for show. Yasuko's personal belongings from her 2 handbags, Mikio's wallet, house keys, and various documents met a similar fate. Perpetrator threw them into the toilet where he previously took care of business. That's right, he left a log in the toilet and then he threw these other items in there. Other items, like a white towel smeared with the perpetrator's blood and empty cup of ice cream, were also dumped in. What we know for sure is criminal was, let's see. What we know for sure is criminal was still at the, I think that's an error. What we know for sure is the criminal was still at Mayazawa's house at 1 a.m. At 1:18 a.m., he connected to the internet using Mikio's computer. During 5 minutes of usage, he created a new folder and visited a theater website. The site was bookmarked by Mikio. We don't know about his later whereabouts. For years, the public was meant to believe the perpetrator escaped in the morning due to the computer connecting to the internet for a second time at around 10 a.m. It wasn't until 2014 when the police have published a bombshell. The second connection was most likely an incident. An accident is what they meant to type. The computer mouse found by the police had fallen under the table and connected to Mikio's company website. Well, how would it just do that? Just randomly click on a... let's see. Mikio's company website, which was set as Mikio's homepage. Japanese police have run an experiment using the exact type of Macintosh computer the Mayazawa family had used. They concluded the most probable outcome was Yasuko's mother dropped a mouse by accident when she found the bodies and therefore connected to the internet. Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense. All right, guys, we need 9 more channel memberships. Please consider supporting the channel. Thank you. This information complicated an already difficult case. The previous theory didn't leave a lot of time for the culprit. Yasuko's mother came to her daughter's house after 10 a.m. to check on them. One of Mayazawa's family relatives called the police at 10:56 a.m. This means if it were really the murderer accessing the internet, he would have little to no time to escape. With the theory being proven untrue, the perpetrator could have escaped any time between 1:30 and 10. He probably left way earlier, like 2 in the morning. The other troubling point is the criminal point of entry. Did he really use the small bathroom window? One of the investigators in the interview with Excite magazine revealed that the police had some doubts about this. He himself found the perp's pristine state of clothes to be downright bizarre. Let's see, one of the investigators in an interview with Excite magazine revealed that the police had some doubts about this. He found the perp's pristine state of clothes to be downright bizarre. His jacket and fanny pack bore no signs of abrasion or wear, and no linen or fiber was left on the window. The only other way in was the front entrance. The problem is that this door was locked. For this theory to be plausible, the murderer would have had to be an acquaintance of the family, the kind who would be let in, even in a late evening. The supporters of the theory have pointed out that the footprints left in blood were going only upwards, starting from the middle of the first floor. If the criminal wasn't an intruder, but truly someone who was invited in, he would have been expected to remove his shoes at home's entrance. Bloody footprints could be explained by blood making stairs slippery, forcing him to wear shoes once again. One way or another, he must have used the window in some way. Police noted the bathroom window was open with the mosquito screen removed and lying outside. Additionally, under the window, they found footprints of a similar footprints of a size similar to the perpetrator's one. What is that? They found footprints of a size similar to the perpetrator's one. Broken, just say the perpetrators. You don't need to put the word one at the end. Let's see. Police noted the bathroom window was open with the mosquito screen removed and lying outside. Additionally, under the window, they found footprints of a size similar to the perpetrators. Broken tree branches near the park fence are assumed to be his work as well. Yeah, so maybe like right over here. Man, maybe let me try a different goal. All right. Nobody seems to be hearing my... We need 9 channel memberships, and then I'll gift 5. So I'll just try something else. See if we can get the ball rolling with half of it on that one. One way or another... let me see that again. The sporter... bathroom window was open with the mosquito screen removed and lying outside. Additionally, under the window, they found footprints of a size similar to the perpetrator one. Broken tree branches near the park's fence are assumed to be his work as well. Due to the unprecedented nature of the murder from the very beginning, a large group of policemen was involved. To this day, 280,000 of them tried to solve the case. At first, investigators were hopeful. The perpetrator left fingerprints, footprints, and even a blood-stained towel, which showed he was an A blood type. Their expectations were quickly shattered. Over 5 million people had their fingerprints checked. Neighbors, all kinds of criminals, family, friends, ex-residents, hospital patients with wounds on their hands. Police tried also DNA testing. You know, it seems like somebody who, like, it was never a criminal before and knew that it didn't matter if they found his DNA or his, especially in 2000 before IgG was even invented. And he knew his fingerprints weren't anywhere, so he didn't bother wearing gloves or anything, knowing that he wasn't going to commit another crime after it. Because once that would happen, then it would link back to this. Or he'd wear gloves on a subsequent one. But any chance we can reach the goal that I just put up there? Any chance? Well, there's Chris O'Connell again. There's one of them, all right? I'm just trying to get us on some footing this month because we're, let's see, if we count, yeah, I mean, compared to last month, we are already, first day was 110 less than the average. The second night was 100, and first night was 130. This was 110 last night. And tonight is less than those two. So we're really, you know, sort of behind the 8 ball here. Just trying to get things moving along. But, you know, if people don't have it, then you don't have it. I'm just trying to get things moving along. So if you can, that'd be great. If not, maybe this will be one of our, I don't know. I mean, maybe this is a month that I won't be able to do anything at the end. You know, it's possible. We're in that ballpark of that minimum channel income where there's no donations made. Well, try a super thanks. Those always seem to work, even when people not super. What are those called? Not super thanks. The what's the other thing called? Super chats, and what's the other one? It's like what the hell are those called? Super sticker. Yeah, try one of those. Yeah, try one of the stickers. Maybe that'll work. Let's see. The perpetrator left fingerprints, footprints, and even a blood-stained towel, which showed he has A blood type. Over 5 million people had their fingerprints checked. Neighbors, all kinds of criminals, family, friends, ex-residents, hospital patients with wounds on their hands. Police tried also DNA testing with 1,300,000 tries. None of them have matched. Researchers did find an intriguing piece of information. In 2005, they announced the perpetrator most likely having Southern European roots from his mother's side. I wonder how they can tell that. Like, how do you know which side the roots came from? They concluded that either his mother or one of his grandparents came from a country close to the Adriatic Sea. His father, on the other hand, was East Asian, which, could be China or even Japanese, Korean, etc. It says Japanese, Korean, or Chinese here. Yeah, no, for some reason IgG isn't working for him. I don't know. I mean, I would get Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick, do the hair analysis. She's good at that. She can find the family of somebody just by a hair. Maybe they don't have hair, though. Oh, well, thanks, No for Show, on the PayPals there. I didn't even see those. How much did we give? I just got the receipt from Ethan Smile. We gave $1,500. Donor, let's see, dates of donation. Donation value and description. They only put one. No, wait, yeah. May 11th and August 31st we gave. So we gave a total of $1,500 to Ethan Smile. It's pretty cool. Hold on, I gotta put this somewhere. They just sent it to me just now. God, what's going on with this? Oh, there it is. Charity. Did I Ethan Smile? Okay, there we go. All right, got it. Yeah, thanks so much, No for Show. Thank you, Barbara Hall. All right, back to this. So they were, they came up with Southern European. They announced that the perpetrator most likely having Southern European roots from his mother's side. They concluded that either his mother or one of his grandparents came from a country close to the Adriatic Sea. His father, on the other hand, was an East Asian. So he could be Japanese, Korean, or Chinese, but I mean, given where this happened. I mean, it sounds like it's more likely Japanese. I mean, that's right, Chris O'Connell. We're trying to make it happen, but I'd like to, you know, I don't know. Oh, is worth it? Is working the it. Hey, I like that though. Hey, we should keep that word. Working the it. Hey, look at that, man. That's a cool. Hold on. That's like a cool phrase, isn't it? Hey, man, he's working the it. You know what I'm saying? That's awesome. Hey, where the hell is that? That's like, that's almost a mug right there. Working the it. Right? I mean, come on. I think that's kind of a cool phrase. Seriously, put a one in. And that's pretty cool. The it, you know, like, oh yeah, he's working the it, man. Oh. Somebody write that down somewhere. Yeah. His father, on the other hand, was East Asian, so he could be... Okay, Japanese police have asked South Korea for help with identifying the culprit. It was the first request of this kind, but it was ultimately refused by the South Korean government. Why? They don't like each other, actually. Yeah, what does hugging the box even mean? Thanks, no, for show. Based on the physical strength needed to climb a fence and access the second floor window, police put the culprit at the age of 15 to 35 bracket with his height reaching... I would put him younger based on, you know, just a lot of the other stuff. You know, with the ice cream and, you know... With his height reaching, he's 5'7". The hair strands found in his fanny pack suggest that he had dark brown or black short hair. And see, that's where you could get the mitochondrial DNA from the hair. And by the way, you can get a full DNA profile now from just hair without even the bulb root at the end. So that's good. Some speculate, say, dark brown or black short hair. So that means, like most Asian, you know, like a lot of Asian people back then had shorter hair, I would think. And maybe, you know, shorter hair might indicate he was in the military as well. Some speculate the intruder has an army oh, there you go, an army background due to his walk style. How do you know what his walk style is? Small steps taken with the back planted, with his back planted to a wall. I see. So you're... You know what would be cool? Is there a map out there that show where his footprints are? That would be an interesting one. According to one of the investigators, he could have walked like this to avoid slipping from the bloodied stairs. Sure. The murder left a lot, if not his whole outfit, behind in Mayazawa's living room, in their sofa, and in international circles, the most attention has fallen on his fanny pack, where the police have found traces of sand, supposedly originating in southwest of America. They said Nevada. Curiously enough, while some Japanese newspapers did mention this finding, there's no information about it on Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department's website. The murderer's fanny bag... Hey, thanks, Tamsters. Thank you. The murderer's fanny bag was a well-used one. It was relatively small fitting, an A5 notebook, and was sold in Japan from September 1995 to January of 1999. The bag cost under $30 and was produced in Korea. Well, there you go. That's interesting then, you know. So you have a bag from Korea, but I mean, they also make a lot of bags that probably go all around the world. You could probably buy a fanny pack like that in the United States and it would be made in Korea. So I wouldn't necessarily say the Southeast Asian Korean angle matches that. I mean, you could probably buy that on Amazon and it would still say, you know, made in Korea. You know? Hey, it did work. Yeah, well, you know, see if you can. Don't you have that stuff yourself? No, for sure. The bag cost under $30 and was produced in Korea. In backlight tests, some traces of red fluorescent agent were found, as well as the perpetrator's dark hair strands. The muffler is the item most difficult to pinpoint. That looks like something you could get in Europe, like, you know, in Ireland or something. It's unknown who produced it and where it was sold. According to information police have received, the scarf was given away as a freebie at places like game centers, arcades, or uniform stores similar to the bag. The muffler was also well used. And then Western onlookers focused on the bag, but for the Japanese public, the shoes were the most interesting element. British brand Schlesinger, they also make golf balls, have produced this particular model in South Korea. So that's three possible, you know, you have the bag from Korea, the shoe from Korea, and then Southeast Asian, which included Korea. So maybe you can sort of see why they wanted to ask questions over there. Uh-huh. Yeah. See you later, Bobby. There's always somebody like you. I always say, if you can't afford it, don't do it. We can all watch, do whatever you can. I just try my best to get to the goals. Why would anybody feel guilty watching the show? If like I said 1,000 times, if you can't afford, and that person, by the way, is just a troll coming in to make the same comments they always make. All right. Let's see. Many U.S. bases in Korea as well. Many? Yeah. Western onlookers focused on the bag, but the Japanese public, the shoes were the most interesting element. And by the way, moderators, you got to remove comments like that quick, because the trolls, they love putting those out there. So when you see them, just get rid of them. Yeah, they try to make it sound like they're trying to be, you know, at the end they put the, hey, love your channel. Yeah, no, you don't. You don't, man. Yeah. No, if you love a channel, you wouldn't make a comment like that. Just watch, you know. Nobody, you know, I don't even know who you are. Never heard of you in my life. And so you shouldn't have felt anything. Yeah, I'm just trying to, basically what I'm doing is just trying to make it work. And I don't know what, you know, I can't do it either. I mean, like I ask 1,000 times and people aren't supporting the channel, and then it just sort of, you know, somebody came in and, you know, like a few people help, and then boom, we get there. But other than that, you know, we wouldn't have done it. You know, we're right now we're in a weird place where we're only getting like 100 and something people watching. So I don't know. I got this whole course. It was pretty interesting, you know. Actually talked about YouTube's algorithm, how it works and everything. I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy, you know, especially on the videos. And he does talk about in there how extremely important thumbnails are, and, you know, like just really, and explain why and how video is supposed to be organized. You know, it's like, oh, wow. So, you know, we'll see how it goes on the video side. Live streams, I don't know what to do. Maybe I'm not covering what people want to be talking about. And I think that's one of the things he said. You know, you can't cover what you want to. You got to cover what other people. Yeah, that's the whole problem, right? Hey, yeah, thanks for reaching that little miniature goal there. All right, so if we do another one for the rest of the show, the same goal. Actually, we got that one gifted membership. So if we had 4 more gifted memberships, then I'll donate 5 memberships myself. All right, so we got the 5 5s, and then a gifted membership, and then if we get 4 more, then I'll donate 5. And that'll get us to 50, let's see, 52, I think. That'd be pretty cool. Anyways, thanks Noah for show and Chris O'Connell again. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, you know, Western onlookers focused on the bag, but for the Japanese public, the shoes were the most interesting element. British brand Schlesinger had produced this particular model in South Korea. It was sold in both South Korea and Japan, but only South Korea sold the shoe in size matching the perpetrator's footprints. Huh. Yeah, isn't that amazing? That is like, every bit of this case is old school police work. You know? And then some of the newer stuff with the DNA, but man, all the other stuff they did, man, that's incredible. This is the second item originating from South Korea. Right, but could he have ordered it online? I mean, 2000's a little early, you know. Amazon did exist in 2000. The shoes weren't the only suspicious item left by the perp. His nondescript thin sweatshirt has also caused quite a stir. In Tokyo, only 10 of them were sold in now closed stores of MX. Even if we count the whole country, the number stops at merely 130 articles sold. Let me see. His nondescript thin sweatshirt has also caused quite a stir. In Tokyo, only 10 of them were sold in now closed stores of MX. Even if we count the whole country, the number stops at merely 130. Wow. Man, if they could get the videotape of whenever those were purchased. Hey, thanks so much there, Barbara Hall. We just need 3 more now. Even if we count the whole country, the number stops at merely 130 articles sold. Hold on a second. I'm going to check something out. Just a second. Let's see. Yeah. All right. Should I unhide Bobby and see if they recover? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna see what happens. Okay, moderators, be aware. All right. That's crazy that there's that many Just that few of the shirt purchased. I mean, how did he get the... and that's what... I guess that's what he looked like with all the clothing on, right? The rest of the outfit was composed of a gray knitted bucket hat. Or were those common in Japan? Black padded jacket from Uniqlo and black one-size gloves. The hat was sold from September 1999 to November of 2000. The jacket is size... Yeah. All right, I'll re-hide him. Forget it. I've never seen him in my life. Seems like it was just a passive-aggressive type thing. The gloves were produced by... the jacket is size L, was 2000 release available in stores, was a 2000 release available in stores since September. And this murder happened... So that means he bought the jacket 3 months prior to the murder. The gloves were produced by Japanese brand Edwin and were purchased from 1998 to 2000. Some of the clothes retrieved by the police smelled like Drakkar. No, I used to have that. I think I might still have Drakkar somewhere. It's in the black miniature bottle. Or not miniature, just a... Drakkar Noir, a French perfume sold in Japan. It's a cologne, okay? You don't call men's, you don't call that a perfume, okay? Sold in Japan since 1982. The last item, which were given a lot of attention by Japanese police, were 2 black handkerchiefs manufactured by a Japanese brand Muji. Oh yeah? Cool, Jack. One of them was most likely used by the criminal wrap-up to... Let's see. Let me read this again. The last items, which were given a lot of attention by Japanese police, were 2 black handkerchiefs manufactured by a Japanese brand Muji. One of them was most likely used by the criminal to wrap up the murder weapon handle. It had a 3-centimeter long cut in the middle of the fabric. Oh, interesting. So he cut himself through the glove. According to Tokyo police information, this technique is used by Chinese workers at a fish factory to prevent the knife from slipping when cleaning seafood, but it seems like it didn't work. Yeah, so then that adds a Chinese connection. Yeah. Police had a lot of evidence, but the one thing they lacked was witnesses. They had just 2 supposed sightings. The first one came from a woman who claimed she was near the crime scene driving a car sometime after 11:30. Suddenly, she spotted a man who rushed out of the Mayazawa's house neighborhood and jumped before her car managed to... I bet you that's just bullshit. He managed to evade her vehicle and ran away. This information was dismissed, there it is, by the police since they didn't find any... Yeah, and the time doesn't even work. Probably somebody just wanted to, let me be famous for a minute. Wait, what are we at now? We're at 7 still, right? Yeah, so we need 3 more gifted channel memberships, and then I'll donate 5. The other sighting happened the day after the murder. In Nikko, a man with a wound on his arm was spotted at Tabu Nikko Station, around 2 to 3 hours away from Setagaya. He received treatment from a station worker. Once again, the police didn't find the information helpful. His wound, so deep you could see bone, didn't fit with the police image of the perpetrator's state. The whereabouts of the intruder are therefore unknown. What we have is an image of him before the murder. He was spotted by a supermarket camera near... The whereabouts of the intruder are therefore unknown. What we have is an image of him before the murder. Does somebody have... is there an image of him out there? No for show? Oh, yeah? You can only do... Well, thanks for the PayPals anyways. I don't know about the Tobanico. I don't remember reading. Where is that? What are you guys talking about? I don't even know. I think I remember saying the name a minute ago, but... He received... Yeah, they already said that. It's no way. But I wasn't even asking about that. Where's this image? Does this image exist out there? All right, guys, let's do it, man. 3 more channel memberships. We can do it. Oh, really? Okay. Maybe they'll say that here, too. What we have is an image of him before the murder. He was spotted by a supermarket camera near Kichoji Station, northern exit. This is where the murder weapon was purchased. They said it was unrelated, so it must have been after this, I guess. The police have created 3 possible motives: money, grudge, or one that is unknown to the authorities. The money theory tends to bring a lot of skeptics out. It's no wonder the suspect stole only 150,000 yen, which is around $1,500. Well, that's kind of, it's not a shitty low amount. I mean, $1,500 is quite a bit, I mean, 2,000 is probably 3,000. Or maybe 2,500 or so. From Mayazawa's house. Many doubt somebody would kill an entire family. I don't know. People have killed for a hell of a lot. I mean, Koberger killed for nothing. He just wanted to. I mean, maybe that's what this guy is, and just took the money because it was there. He saw it. And yet those cases do happen. In 2009 in the city of Kani near Nagaya, a Chinese exchange student killed 2 people and injured 1 in a robbery gone wrong. All he stole was a cheap watch and the equivalent of $2,000. Well, he should have led with that instead of the cheap watch, which he intended to use to pay off his shoplifting fine. There are a couple of downsides to this theory. First of all, for someone who wasn't in a hurry, he didn't take all the money. He has left around 190,000 yen and foreign currency totaling to 5,000 yen. The method... Well, how much did he... 150,000, but he left more. The method of killing was also very excessive. If it was a random kill, why would he kill Yasuko and Niina, who were sleeping in the attic? Exactly, that's what I was saying yesterday. Like, what was the point of that? This brings us to the second motive, grudge. This is where the severity of the attacks come into play. Besides Ray, who was strangled, the rest of the family met a gruesome death. Women, both Niina and Yasuko, being stabbed in the face area. Could it be a grudge he had held towards one of them? Or maybe he hated women? Well, I wouldn't call the little girl a woman. I mean, how old was what was her name? What makes the theory... Yeah, Niina. How old was she? Wasn't she like 8 or something? Or was she 14? I don't remember. What page? I don't even know what page this is. Yeah, I could have just done it. Boy, I'd sure like to give out those 5 memberships, you guys. We're just trying to get to that same number that we used to get when I would donate them. 3 more. All it has to be is 3 5s or 3 channel memberships. That's what I thought. She was 8, right? So I'm not sure why you call her women, you know. It's not really... Police think he may have lived on the west side of Tokyo and moved by JR Chuo Line and Kyo Line, which puts him not far from the Soshigaya Park. However, there are people who doubt this theory. Some investigators suspect the intruder throwing away his stuff and destroying things could be camouflage and a part of an elaborate plan to take police off his tracks. The strangeness of the murder leaves a lot of place for imagination. In reality, the murder could have an entirely different motivation. There's another image that's different than the other one. Let's see. Man, that's a big struggle getting those last 3. On the international sites of the most popular opinions is skaters' involvement. Skaters. After all, Mayazawas were living just next to the park. The noisy surroundings may have led to some conflicts. The murderer, being a skater, was the Japanese police first theory. Really? That just sounds ludicrous. I don't know. That sounds absolutely stupid. You're a skater and you're like, I'm mad at you. I'm going to go kill all of... You know, it sounds ridiculous. Maybe I'll throw myself in prison until we get those last 3 channel memberships. Just so I can donate the 5. Except I don't think I'd get out. But I can't do it. The internet provides many testimonies claiming Mikio was often arguing with skaters who were using benches in choo-choo train park. So what? As a ramp. As it was mentioned before, the criminal could have lived somewhere near Ojakubo, a place close to Soshigaya Park. It's possible he came in contact with Mayazawa before the murder took place. On the other side, some point out that Slozengers would make an unusual pair of shoes for skateboarding. Plus, them being the first target mean they were presumably given a lot of attention. Their fingerprints were most likely checked as well. And we don't have any coffees either. In Japan, due to the items left by the perpetrators and the tendency to assume every criminal is a foreigner, the popular theory is murder being a Korean citizen. The most sensational tale written by a journalist, somebody named like Ishihashi Fumiya, tells the story of Mayazawa being involved with the Korean Unification Church since they didn't want to sell off their land to the church. They get murdered by assassination. Man, there's just a lot of crazy, conspiracies. Well, since you guys aren't going to do the extra ones, I'll donate the 5 anyways. just because we came close. Yeah, there you go. We came close. Man. It's like when other people say, yeah, let's do this, everybody does it. But when I say it, couldn't be more frustrating. Yeah, so other guesses revolve around the murder being mentally ill. Or you got to be a little bit mental to do something like that. When everything goes wrong and the case goes cold, there is just one flicker of hope. Science. A research institute, Shizuoka, is currently working on establishing a more detailed look of the perp based on DNA left at the crime scene. I was thinking about, didn't you say that, Chris O'Connell, about the, yeah, I mean, that's what we were talking about yesterday, the air, you know. It sounds like he's like a military person, and he's young, like, you know, you would be if you're in the military, and maybe he went over there. But you were mentioning the phenotyping. These are still talking about Drakkar, for God's sakes. Can you guys move on to something else? Yeah, I mean, the phenotyping makes more sense now that it's not just a Japanese person, you know, because phenotyping, you know, it'd be like, ah, okay, looks like, you know, you're going to make, it's just a generic look, so it'd look like a lot of people. But now that it's more, you know, I would be interesting to see what Parabon would come up with. It looks like maybe they did something like that. A research institute in Shizuoka is currently working on establishing a more detailed look of the perp based on DNA left at the crime. Yeah, no problem, Michelle. Hey, I got one person to say thanks. All right. Very cool. There's the 5 memberships up there. According to a scientist working on the case, there is possibility of figuring out the perpetrator had any illness, what is his skin color, and even details about his facial features. Could this mean we will finally get an answer on who the culprit is? The police remain skeptical. Contrary to the United States, which was built on immigrants, Japan is a homogeneous country, right? That means there isn't a lot of interest in finding out the family roots. It's difficult to imagine a case like Golden State Killer happening, but it could be very first step to uncovering the truth. Yeah, so I don't know what this stuff is. I mean, I can't speak Japanese. Let's see what happens when you click on it. And then can I switch it to English? It's been 20 years. Huh. I guess you could do research even if it's Japanese and just convert it over. Oh, jeez. The son of a military man that hung out at the skate park. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Oh, boy. Let's see. Let's see. I will be sending you an email tomorrow. Oh, cool. Thanks. Yeah. It's like trying to make all the little parts fit. But the kid's 20, so he's the kid of a military man, and he's like 20, and he's got pissed one night, so he went over and killed even the little kids and everything because somebody said, hey, you're making noise on the... I don't know. That doesn't sound accurate. He's 12. I mean, even if he's 15. I mean, most people in the military, you're out by that time. I mean, there are career military people, but I don't know. That article, I did mention the sand. It just mentioned the southern United States, not like exactly where. Why are you typing in on for some reason? The theme of the lecture was gathering support. I don't know. Maybe I'll dig around. I don't know. It's hard to do because it's not here. And there's no probable cause document or things like that. Or, not that there would be a probable cause, but there's no investigative information. Yeah, there's another picture of it. That's pretty cool. All right. I mean, I guess it could be anything. Lisa, I don't know. I mean, jeez, who knows? Maybe it is a military guy, and somehow they went over there, and then his son got pissed off because one time he was skating there, and somebody said something, so he broke into the house, went all the way upstairs and killed an 8-year-old and chased him around, and that's the part that just seems different. And maybe the military guy's son's a psycho, I don't know. Just seems like it's something else. Doesn't feel like that. The sand in there, that's interesting. Being from Nevada. Testing in the U.S. was the lady in the first video you showed. Her name was On. Yeah. What do you mean she blocked the DNA testing in the U.S.? What does that even mean? I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't talk about that. Right. It could be anything. I mean, it could just be an actual, 18-year-old to 22-year-old person that was stationed in Japan from Edwards Air Force Base. That just was over there and is an absolute psycho. I mean, we have covered probably 20 different cases where some military person turns out to be like a serial killer living on a base, and he goes out and kills and then goes back to the base again. We've had many of those. So what if one of those people was stationed in Japan? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. What we should do is go look and find those. And then, hell, was that person based in Japan during a certain time? Wouldn't that be interesting? Because they came over here and started doing something else. I mean, it's kind of an awkward, personal seeming killing, though. So it's not like, oh, he's a serial killer. It's sort of, although, him hanging out and eating ice cream puts him in that realm, right? All right. Well, sounds like we're dead as a doornail in here, you guys. So I'm going to get going. Thanks for being here, though. What would be cool? Anyways, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, and especially those helping to support the struggling, for some reason, unknown reason, struggling channel lately. Thanks for keeping us afloat. Appreciate it. I don't have the answers. The railroad serial killer ate the food, put the clothes on the victim. Huh? Let's see. Is that what they're called? He was called the railroad serial killer? Really say... I can't say what. What do you mean you can't say? You can't answer. Why do you think the perpetrator is allegedly in D.C.? I didn't see her say that. Of course, I can't read the comments because I'm reading. Yeah. Alright, well, let's see. Thanks to Linda Cosma, this account, Richard Watts, Linda Cosma, 32 months, thank you, No For Show, Cinnamon Sin Freak, Barbara Hall, gifted a membership, and then Steams a Galore, something, gifted one, or was a member for a month. Then Tamsters gifted one, and then Wild Bill Wassman gifted one, and then Sandy Shirley, 33 months, then Michelle H, then Lisa V, these are the dollar hauler ones, Chris O'Connell, Tamsters, Zozo, Chris O'Connell, then Chris O'Connell gifted 5, then Wild Bill Wassman gifted one, and then Chris O'Connell gifted 10 and then 10, so 20 in a row. Then No For Show gifted one, and then Chris O'Connell did a super chat, and then Sandy Shirley, and Chris O'Connell did another 10, so that's 30 of the 49. And Barbara Half gifted one, and then Chris O'Connell, and then Barbara Hall, Chris O'Connell, No For Show, Tamsters, No For Show, Chris O'Connell, Barbara Hall gifted one, then I gifted 5, then we had, looks like No For Show did 2 different PayPals, so thank you. What do you do over there at No For Show, if you don't mind me asking? Okay, you'll show me, alright. I mean, you can send me this stuff, I won't put it on my show. You know, you just tell me what I can and can't show, or whatever. Maybe I can come up with something on my own. Yeah, we just kind of barely got over the goal, you know, not really, just, we haven't had any of those nights where you go, all right, okay, we made up for some of those other ones, you know, it's just, you know. Let's see, I'm a researcher and translator. Oh yeah? What do you research over there? I mean, does your husband live over there or something, or? And she's been blue for a long time, Paulette. Where have you been? I mean, she's been blue for like a week, you know. Let's see. And, yeah, I mean, haven't seen you tonight much either. You just sort of pop in right at the end. Probably watching one of those other channels, criminal cases. And he was one of the directors of the Olympics. Oh, cool. What do you research over there, though? Do you research reading Japanese, or are you just kind of referring to like anything that somebody wants you to research? And he was one of the directors of the Olympics. Very cool. Are you guys from, I mean, are you from the U.S. and then moved there, or did you meet him while you were over there or something like that? Oh, yeah. On crimes against women. Huh, that's interesting. Like Rain, you know. And Knick-Knack combined, I guess. Oh, yeah? Cool. But he was from Japan, and then you guys went back. What does he do over there? Oh, yeah, he did the Olympics. But other than that, if there's no Olympics, what is he doing? You're going to have one Olympics, you know. I mean, the Olympics have been there a few times. I think it was there in, well, the Summer Olympics, I think, was 68, maybe. Is that right? Or 60? I'm just kind of trying to remember. I thought it was like 68. And then Munich was 72, I think, and 76 was Montreal, is that right? And then 80 was, I think that might have been Los Angeles, maybe. 84, I don't remember where some of that is. It was just back in Tokyo again, though. Just a couple of, like, wasn't it Tokyo like the last time? In the rain during the pandemic? Mm-hmm. Yep, it's coming back. 2034, man. They already have it planned out that far. That's crazy. I guess that's only 8 years, so it just looks old when you look at 2034. All right, anyways, thanks everybody. Thanks for being here. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And thanks everybody for helping reach the goal. Yeah, ish, you know. Appreciate it. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being here. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gragel's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temple fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later.
Thank you for watching Grant Hughes Investigates, where we cover true crime using facts, logic, and reason to speculate accurately on cases. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, be safe out there.